Reza Aslan is a scholar, as you're about to find out, and Fox News is about to find out. He's written about many of the different religions. He's written the book Zealot, The Life and Times of Jesus of Nazareth. Well, it's a historical account of Jesus. It's fascinating. I'd like to know what it's in it, but I don't get much of a chance when he goes on Fox News Channel because they're not going to ask him what's in the book. They're going to ask him, how dare you? What do I mean? Watch.
Reza Aslan was a Christian but converted back to the faith of his forefathers. It's Islam. He has now written a book about Jesus. The book has become controversial as it calls into question some of the core tenets of Christianity. Clarify, you're a Muslim, so why did you write a book about the founder of Christianity?
Well, to be clear, I am a scholar of religions with 4 degrees, including one in the New Testament and fluency in Biblical Greek, who has been studying the origins of Christianity for 2 decades, who also just happens to be a Muslim.
That was a great beginning. Okay, you're a Muslim writing about our prophet? What are you doing? What are you thinking? But wait a minute, that's not how academics works. It's not like they say, all right, Christians, you go over there, you write about Jesus. Muslims, go ahead and mount Muhammad. Jews, you're left with Moses. Good luck. Okay. That's not how, of course, academia works. But Fox News doesn't know or care to know how that works. They're not interested in facts. All they do is look at it from their perspective. Their perspective is we bring in people who have a certain bias, and then we put that bias on air. So I assume Reza Aslan does the same thing. He's a Muslim, must be biased in favor of Islam, so he probably writes a book from that perspective. I got news for you. He's not Fox News Channel. He actually cares about the facts. Now you think, well, that was pretty bad, right? That went on for 9 minutes. We're going to give you short snippets of it, but it was unbelievable that she kept going back to it and back to it. Here's the second one.
So it's not that I'm just some Muslim writing about Jesus. I am an expert with a PhD in the history of religions. But I have been obsessed with Jesus.
Though, it still begs the question, why would you be interested in the founder of Christianity?
Because it's my job as an academic. I am a professor of religion, including the New Testament. That's what I do for a living, actually.
I find the question awesomely stunning. I'm agnostic. I'm interested in Jesus. I like tacos. I mean, why can't I ask questions about Jesus? Why can't I be fascinated by that? But in their world, like, okay, you're either a believer and that's it, yeah, and then you take whatever the local pastor or one of our hosts told you was Christianity and you shove it down people's throats. Why would you be interested in this as an intellectual exercise and actually want to know the facts? Fox News is flummoxed by a curiosity over history and facts. It continues.
Just to be clear, this is not some attack on Christianity. My mother is a Christian. My wife is a Christian. My brother-in-law is an evangelical pastor. Anyone who thinks that this book is an attack on Christianity has not read it yet.
But I want to read you some quotes from some people who are criticizing you.
I love that beginning. So now, I'm done criticizing you, which, by the way, is not true. She's going to come back to it at the end again. So I'm going to move on to people. I don't know, look, there's a guy from a newspaper, and then there's a guy off of Twitter. I'm just going to keep reading criticism. Why don't you ask what's in the book? And isn't it true that you're going to do propaganda for Muslims? Well, that's where we're headed. Let's watch.
One from John Dickerson, who has written an op-ed piece on FoxNews.com, and he says, it's not a historian's report on Jesus. Is it an educated Muslim's opinion about Jesus? He says its conclusions are long-held Islamic claims, namely that Jesus was a zealous prophet type who didn't claim to be God.
Well, that's actually not what Islam claims about Jesus. My book about Jesus overturns pretty much everything that Islam also thinks about Jesus as well. And to be clear, I just want to emphasize this one more time. I am a historian. I am a PhD in the history of religions. This isn't a Muslim opinion. This is an academic work of history, not about the Christ or about Christianity for that matter. It's about a historical man who walked the earth 2,000 years ago in a land that the Romans called Palestine.
How are your findings different from what Islam actually believes about Jesus?
Well, Islam doesn't believe that Jesus was crucified, first of all. Islam believes in the virgin birth. I mean, Jesus was most definitely crucified, and my book does question the historicity of the virgin birth. So again, I mean, I know that we've mentioned this 3 times now. I'm not sure what my faith happens to do with my 20 years of academic study of the New Testament.
Okay, God, I love this interview so much. But he's like, to be clear, I am a historian. Fox is like, what name so? What does that mean? Anybody know what that means? And he's like, this is not just a random Muslim opinion. I researched this. And he had Fox News like, research? Anybody know what research means? Okay, play us out. I don't know what that means. I don't know what it means, right? They're like, I don't know, all you have is opinion and bias, right? That's what we do here. And I have to confess to you, it's only upon the 3rd viewing of it did I just notice that our so-called expert that she was reading the op-ed from was from FoxNews.com. So somebody else at Fox News also hated your book, as did I. So why don't you confess that in fact you are a Muslim? We're going to get to that. That's awesome. Let's keep going.
Of course, in any scholarly discussion of Jesus, as with any scholarly discussion of any ancient figure, there are going to be widespread differences, but my 100 pages of endnotes cites every scholar who disagrees with me and every scholar who agrees with me.
We're not talking about just people who disagree with you. Many scholars disagree with you as well.
Like the scholars at FoxNews.com. They also, and I got a guy on Twitter, man, he doesn't like your book either. Okay, he's like, the way academics works is we don't know exactly what happened 2,000 years ago. We try to piece it together. And then that guy says, okay, hey, look, I've got this research, and I have research, and then sometimes we agree, sometimes we disagree. Wow. She's like, yeah, all right, but let's get back to the fact that you're a Muslim. Watch.
Taylor Kane just says, so your book is written with clear bias, and you're trying to say it's academic. That's like having a Democrat write a book about why Reagan wasn't a good Republican. It just doesn't work.
Well,
what do you say to that?
It would be like a Democrat with a PhD in Reagan who has been studying his life and history for 2 decades writing a book about Reagan.
But then why would a Democrat want to promote democracy by writing about a Republican? I see that the point is that...
Ma'am, may I just finish my sentence for a moment, please? I think that the fundamental problem here is that you're assuming that I have some sort of faith-based bias in this work that I write. I write about Judaism, I write about Hinduism, I write about Christianity, I write about Islam. My job as a scholar of religions with a PhD in the subject is to write about religions.
He's trying to be as clear as he can possibly be. That would be like a Democrat with a PhD in Reagan. Okay, and he's right. She can't get past the fact that he might have a faith-based bias. Why? Because she has a faith-based bias. The entire network has a faith-based bias. Her name is Lauren Green, by the way, and I have never seen an interview that bad. Even on Fox. Did you notice what she said in the middle there? That'd be like a Democrat writing a book about Reagan, and how would they understand how to promote democracy? What? I mean, you want to talk about your bias screaming through the screen. That was amazing, but we're not done yet.
I think it's unfair to just simply assume, because of my particular faith background, that there is some agenda on this book. That would be like saying that a Christian who writes about Muhammad is by definition, not able to do so because he has some bias against it. And frankly, every book that's almost every book that's out there is by Islam.
I believe that you've been on several programs and never disclosed that you were a Muslim, and I think that's interesting full disclosure.
The second page of my book says I'm a Muslim.
Oops.
Every single interview I have ever done on TV or on print says I'm a Muslim. You may not be familiar with me, but I'm actually quite a prominent Muslim thinker in the United States. I've written a number of books about Islam. It's just simply incorrect to say that media isn't saying that I'm a Muslim. I would actually encourage you to actually try to find media that doesn't mention my biography, which, by the way, again, is on the second page of the book.
All right.
she's got her talking point and she can't get off of it. And it's a clear Fox News move, like, but the Muslims, they never denounced the bombings, except for the fact that they denounce every single bombing, and I can show you a statement after every bombing. They're like, but they never do they? And, well, you never revealed that you were a Muslim, did you? It's on the second page of my book. Okay. Nonetheless, wow, that was awesome. According to Fox News, if you're not that specific category of human being, you're not allowed to write about anything because you don't have the appropriate bias. Now, does that mean that men cannot write books about women? Interesting. Does that mean that men cannot write legislation about women? Would Fox News care to agree with that? Interesting. Okay, I like how we have disqualified everybody about writing about Christianity unless they're a deep believer in Christianity, and whatever that means to Fox News, and whichever strain of Christianity that you happen to believe in. But we've also meant that no Christian can ever write about Islam. I wonder if any of the Fox News hosts or any of the experts at foxnews.com have written about Islam at all. Oh, probably not. Or if they have, we should immediately discount anything that a Fox News host has ever said about Islam. Fair enough. That we probably should do. That was an absolute epic beatdown that Reza Aslan gave Fox News. It was also a clinic in bias and buffoonery by Fox News. Well played. Well played.